there is an important thing we should do when addressing the shooter, and it is to make sure that their feelings aren't hurt. The shooter, which is all this person ever will be known as, a shooter, a killer, a demon, needs to be respected, needs to be affirmed in their mental delusion. We live in a fucking clown world. Defending a school shooter because of transphobia. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh no. No. Oh man, this is gonna be heavy. This is not okay. This person, this individual, who I actually don't even know his name. I don't care to know his name. His name's not even worth saying. This demon in human form committed a shooting, and it is just disgusting. Obviously, anytime a shooting happens, especially, you know, in the climate we live in, I always just feel like all I can really do is just feel a deep sadness. I don't know. It's just terrible every time it happens. But specifically, this shooter was a transgender individual, and obviously that's going to spark another conversation about specifically people who have some sort of gender dysphoria where it's going to cause them to make medical decisions that can affect their hormones, and there's a whole underlying mental health discussion that has to be had. But I do think at the end of the day, the conversation that is going to be had about this stuff always gets infected with, I think, bad actors and opportunists. People who want to use the sadness and the tragedy to, I would say, sensationalize their own, like, political agenda. And that's not what I'm here to do. I think, though, specifically, when you have people that are going to defend a shooter because they're trans, or they're going to take the time to remind everybody to make sure they're using proper pronouns for the shooter, I think those people are deserving of a fucking smack across the head. I really think so.
My name's Leon, and for the past few years on this YouTube channel, I have lamented how much I despise online activism, because while you have instances where people are actually trying to get the word out about something that they deem as unfair, and they're trying to get people to understand it in a nice, fair, concise manner that doesn't lead to a lot of people annoyed, you have had the growing conversation of online activists pretending like they care just so that they could be viewed as someone who is the holier-than-thou arbiter of all things problematic that they want to solve, even though they will spit in your face and tell you that what you're doing is not enough, and will tell you to do things above and beyond while they sit comfortably at home, because it's more important for them to have a hot take than it is for them to actually care about insert group here, because insert number of likes over here means way more to the egos of a self-righteous individual who wants to pretend like they're a hero and get attention from a bunch of people who also want to pretend like they're heroes because mommy, after shoving them out the puss, didn't give them enough of that nipple while growing up. And as the only trans ally online, and somehow at the same time the only black transphobic wizard in the Hogwarts universe, according to Twitter, I have unique rule over anyone who likes to deem themselves a trans ally. Now let me be clear. If you are a grown adult, I'm gonna say that again, Dr. Umar style. If you are a grown adult who is a man, and you someday feel as though you're tired of feeling the dryness of a pocket pussy and tired of spraying Windex in it so that you can get some form of wetness in it, and you want to have that on your own inner thigh, go ahead, don't care. If you're a woman who always wanted to experience what it's like to jerk and have post-nut clarity, and you want to create like this makeshift ween between your legs, go ahead, I don't care. All I ask is that you leave the children out of it, because what you're doing.
I think that argument is bad, because if you're just saying that you don't care, even if it is a rising social contagion that more and more people are falling into, I still feel like it's not something to just say I don't care to, because it's I don't care until it's like your friend, or it's I don't care until it's someone that you actually know. Like, I'll be honest, if my buddy Eric came up to me and said, hey, you know, I'm changing my name to Erica and I'm cutting my dick off, I would literally be like, no, you're not. We're not doing this, you know? I feel like I couldn't just say, oh, Eric's a grown man. He's a grown adult. He can make his own decisions. I feel like it's not something that I'm just gonna say, yeah, no, he's good. He has the agency to do so. I don't know if I can just say, like, I don't care as long as they're an adult forever. Obviously, they can't do it to children, but I think if more and more adults are doing it themselves, there has to be a question as to why, and if this is actually good. And I think the answer to is it actually good on a mass? The answer is no. And why they're doing it, I think largely has to do with various societal factors that in a good world are not causing people to become trans.
In your 30s and your 40s never really concerns me. That's your life. But when you're sitting here and you see a child playing with a Barbie doll.
Yeah, but the issue is that when you say that's your life, you know, to enough people, then you've now just constructed a society where people are just becoming trans en masse, and you've said that it's like no problem. Like, let's take that logic to its extreme. If you're saying that every time it happens, as long as they're an adult, it's fine. If it became a phenomenon where all of a sudden 20 to 30% of people were identifying as trans, you would, because of your logic, have to say that it's fine. And I wouldn't say that it's fine.
They just so happen to be a little boy, and that conversation in your mind clicks that there's signs that you're transgender. You're losing me to the absolute nines. People are often confused about themselves, and the last thing they need is someone else who's confused about themselves egging it on, because while you want to pretend that transitioning has 100% goods, I don't care how much you try to delegitimize all these people who detransition, you have to talk about the bad as well. And the reason we're here today is because the transgender reputation is under attack. Why is the transgender reputation under attack, Leon? Well, there was a school shooting this last week, and a transgender was the one that committed the atrocity, and people have been running around through the nines trying to defend said transgender that shot up the school. And we're going to go about dissecting 3 instances where someone tried their hardest. And let's start with door number 1.
This is for the people who, regarding the school incident in Minneapolis, insist on referring to the accused as Robert, which is that person's birth name, evidently, later legally changed to Robin. This is for you. My grandma always hated the name she was given. She was given the name Patsy. She always hated it, but she didn't want to hurt her mother's feelings. After her mother passed away, she decided to change.
I mean, I actually can't believe what I'm watching right now. There is a fully grown adult woman who is taking the time to record a TikTok where she explicitly says there is an important thing we should do when addressing the shooter, and it is to make sure that their feelings aren't hurt. The shooter, which is all this person ever will be known as, a shooter, a killer, a demon, needs to be respected, needs to be affirmed in their mental delusion. We live in a fucking clown world. We literally, I mean, the world is a fucking disaster, right? As is. And this is just, every time I see someone speak like this or bring up the fact that the shooter is trans, not to raise some sort of awareness as to the mental consequences of being so deranged, but to affirm it, to say that it's important to call this person Robin, not Robert, is fucking demented. Literally doing the "it's ma'am," but for a person who has taken the lives of innocent children. I mean, what else do you say to a person like this? What do I even tell this person besides go fuck yourself? I don't even know what to like. I mean, everything I've said now is so blatantly obvious that nobody is sitting here and doing anything besides like nodding their head in agreement. But what I'm more concerned about is not making sure people agree with me, because I know people agree with me, but making sure people like this face ridicule so heavy that they'll never make this mistake again. And I'm not talking about violence or anything like that. I'm talking like a society that punishes this kind of like how did we fucking get here? How did we fucking get here? How did this happen? What took place? What transpired in the air to make it so that individuals like this feel comfortable speaking this way?
Change her name legally to Patricia. Now, do I call my grandma Patricia, the name she chose? Or do I insist on referring to her as the name she was given at birth? No difference. There's no difference. Your trans hate is shining through.
Holy fucking shit. I cannot believe this is real life. She has decided that it is more important, literally, to discuss trans hate than the violence committed by the hateful trans person. You want to talk about trans hate? Let's talk about the trans hate for children. Let's talk about the trans hate for themselves. The trans hate for society. You want to talk about trans hate? What do you think's more hateful? A person who decides to kill innocent children, or a person who says that a man dressing up as a woman isn't actually a woman? What do you think is more hateful? Let's weigh those out. You tell me. Let's sit here and talk about this, because I guess we live in a world where we have to have this conversation. It's fucking mind-blowing. I actually don't understand. I truly don't. Is this a CIA plant to make me mad? Did the government put this in front of me to piss me off? Because they're doing a great job. Good job, government. I don't know what to tell you. It all just feels like a psyop. It all just feels like it's a psyop. Everything feels so fucking scripted. I really do. I like where's the, you know, where are the cameras right now? Am I on a prank show? I'm waiting for John Quinones from What Would You Do to pop out and knock on my door and give me my money for telling me that I did the right thing by condemning this. Because I actually feel like I'm getting fucking pranked. I don't understand. It's getting scary that it's not a prank. Your trans hate is shining through, she says. I hope so. I hope so. I hope that me not giving into the delusion of a killer is really upsetting you. I hope it is. And I hope that it sits with you. I don't know anymore. I really don't. People are always trying to know what the problem is with the world, like what group of people are the biggest issue and the biggest threat to society. Some people think it's immigrants, some people think it's the rich, you know, some people think it's racial groups. At the end of the day, I will say, when we're talking about pattern recognition, I definitely have noticed there being a pattern I've recognized of millennial white women on TikTok saying things that are so absolutely absurd regarding politics, and it'll all be veiled as like tolerance, that what she's saying is so ridiculous and retarded, but because it's like kind and tolerant that it's fine, these bitches need to be fucking like dealt with ASAP. They're not the main problem, but they are definitely not helping in any way at all. The sympathy given towards the shooters is the same as the girls who are romantically obsessed with people like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer. That's a good analogy. Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Because it's the same crowd of people, right? They're just delusional. Like you're a delusional human being. Like you have some sort of like psychopathy.
So I'm currently walking home from open house, and I really quick wanted to address the situation that happened this morning at a local Catholic school. I don't know any of the kids. I don't know any of the parents. I don't know any of the teachers. I don't know anybody from the situation. But one thing that I'm already seeing.
Why is that the first thing you would say about a tragedy? Imagine there's a hurricane and a fucking bunch of people died and you're like, I don't really know him. Yeah, I don't know him. What? Like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. I look back and I get the replay download of my entire life, and I wonder, how the fuck did I turn out so differently than these people? How badly did things have to go for you to end up in the position where you're filming a TikTok saying what you're saying? It doesn't make sense. I'm struggling to put myself in the shoes of someone who would do this. And I'm really good at placing myself in other people's shoes. I really am. I can sympathize with people who are in a lot of shitty positions. Trust me. Like, I get it. I don't get this. I can't fucking get it. I can't wrap my head around it. And it drives me crazy that I can't. Because, you know, even the most disheveled homeless people who are hooked on drugs, I can understand that shit gets rough. You know, maybe not one-to-one what happened in your scenario, but I can get it. I can't fucking understand what would cause someone to do this. I just can't.
Is that, and I know people are going to come at me, and you know what? I don't care. Just, by the way, we cannot misgender the shooter.
I don't even know what to say.
Okay. I'm not a professional by any means when it comes to gender, but I've done enough research. I've also spent plenty of time with people that are trans, and we should not.
I can't live in a world with these people. I literally cannot. I'm sorry. I don't know if that's like extreme to say. I literally would rather live like by myself with AI than live in a world where there's people like this around me. I feel like I am like, I feel like I'm actually losing my mind.
And we will not misgender them.
Dude, there's just no way. There's no way. You're a sick fuck. You are a sick fucking piece of shit.
We do not misgender somebody.
You are an illness. No, actually, you're a symptom. You're a symptom of the problem. The problem is that we live in hell, and you are like a little demon who reminds me that I'm living in hell. And it's like, are you the problem, or is everything else the problem? And you're like not like you're just like a reminder that everything else is like, I actually don't even know at this point, and I don't necessarily know what to do when I see this other than get mad. And it's like, not the problem is that people talk about rage bait like it's this thing to perform in order to yield anger because it's funny to, you know, get people to get themselves worked up over nothing. But there's nothing bait about this. Bait would imply that it's fake, that, you know, when you throw out bait, it's not real. Like, it's, oh, I'm saying something I don't actually believe in order to elicit a reaction from you because I find pleasure in it. You're saying exactly what you believe, loud and clear. And so I think that it's more than reasonable that I get enraged by this. If someone says something stupid or evil, either of them works, and they mean it, it's gonna enrage me.
Because they did something wrong. The last time I checked, we haven't misgendered any cis white males. And we're also, we need to talk about the mental health issue. Goodness knows we need to talk about the mental health issue. But we're also not formally blaming people with disabilities. We're not blaming people with disabilities, and we're not blaming trans people for what happened. This was the actions of one individual.
I'm telling you, dude, like, imagine, like, again, like, there's so many instances of this kind of thinking. The kind of thinking where it's like, let's not get carried away, guys. I know Carmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf at a high school track meet, but you guys, like, let's make sure we're not being racist to Carmelo Anthony. Oh, I know that this person as a part of this group did something terrible, but let's not make it about this group. There are instances where you shouldn't make it about the group, but I don't think ever it's more worth bringing up the fact that you shouldn't make fun of the group or shouldn't bring the group into it than criticizing than the individual, you know? Like, when is it more important to not be racist against Carmelo Anthony than it is, you get what I'm saying? It's like, when is it more important to not be racist against him than it is to, I kind of lost my train of thought, but I think you guys get where I'm going with this.
That is part of greater communities. That's all I have to say for now. Again, if you don't have anything nice to say, you don't need to be in my comments.
Obviously, it needs to be understood that respect is something a lot of people want, a lot of people crave, and a lot of people hope for in terms of dealing with strangers, coworkers, family, and friends. I, speaking for me, will not give a solitary fuck about you, your dignity, your race, your expectations, your respect, none of that. I will not care about that if you willingly do something that openly disrespects another human being. And I can't think, yes, I can, there are things that exist that would immediately wash away that respect I could have for you, your pronouns, your feelings, your sexuality. And you know, killing children, shooting children, traumatizing children is on the top of that list. So no, madam, we're not going to be playing this game of we must make sure that we're not going above and beyond to disrespect the shooter because the shooter did not care about anyone else. And that's
Literally excusing people for bad behavior because of identity politics is so stupid. Yeah, we will always have to excuse the stereotypical activities unless it's a white person. I think there's a reason that certain stereotypes exist, you know, and it's like with this, it's super easy to understand that somebody who is mentally ill and is visibly demonstrating their illness and demanding affirmation for their illness from society would go on to do something deranged, right? Like it's not a shocker. That's not even like surprising, you know. So it's like when we talk about stereotype, I think it's time to get serious about certain stereotypes and why they exist, you know? It's time to get serious about mental illness being directly correlated with violence, and the overlap between violence, mental illness, and transgenderism is pretty clear. Now, you know, where you want to go with that, I think that it's really simple. Like, if you are supportive of, like, mental health checks when it comes to buying firearms and stuff like that, then you have to be in support of some sort of restrictions around this stuff. It really is simple, you know? I mean, we're talking about someone who is just not in reality. We're talking about someone who's living in their own fucking world.
Door number one. Door number two.
I don't talk much while I'm traveling about political stuff because that's not the focus. But at the moment, I want to talk with everyone about the situation and the Catholic school shooting. That poor girl who attended the school and went in there and shot up the school after transitioning and after attending that school. And we can only assume that that school, as a Catholic school, did not welcome her, did not make her feel seen, included, safe during her confusing years, during her transitional years.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I hate when my school doesn't make me feel safe, so I kill people there. I can't, this can't be real. Like, I don't, I'm sick. I'm sick to my stomach. It's sickening. And these people are honestly, they may as well have been fucking accomplices. Because what you're saying is just encouragement. You're basically just saying, like, yeah, you know, they weren't nice to you, go get your revenge. Like, I find it hard to believe that if any of the women justifying this act were aware that this was going to happen, they would stop it. Like, I truly believe that they would have said, it's not my place to say. Like, I really do believe they would have pulled some bullshit like that, which makes them, in my opinion, like, just as bad.
During her
that poor girl, I can't. Yeah, no, I mean, it's just like, I don't know. Like, a part of me feels like watching this isn't good for me because it lowers my general expectation of people and my, you know, if I don't know someone and none of these. So think about it like this, right? I think whenever you watch either like videos of, whenever you go on the internet and you see the worst of society, and maybe you don't interact with people that much, or maybe you do, I feel like it can damage your expectations when you meet normal people. Like, you can have these sort of invisible perceptions that people are just like this. Like, you know, people who you'll run into across the street are just this sick and twisted because you're seeing it online. But, you know, I do think it's hard yet important to make sure that you're not just consuming this garbage all the time, because this is garbage. Now, I get paid to consume it in order to criticize it and be a voice of reason that people can connect with, to remind them that for every one of these, there's however many views this video has, like 100,000 of normal people, right? But simultaneously, it's still just really, it's rotten. It truly is rotten. And I think when you look at rot like this, it's important to remember that most people, 99% of people, are not like this. And I have to remind myself of that sometimes too. These are losers. These are fucking losers.
Who she needed to become, but the goal was to become happy when you transition. And so this is going to feed a lot of conversation about mental illness around trans people, and this is why people shouldn't encourage people to transition. And it's just so sad because it affects the LGBTQ plus community.
Now, you would be one to think that this kind of ties into the first door. Well, yes, but not so much the so. Because when you're dealing with the overarching reputation of every single person in insert group here, you're going to have to understand that no matter, and I need you to listen to me clearly here, no matter if you are transgender, whether you be transgender white, transgender black, transgender Mexican, which I guess these individuals don't exist because they all got deported, so none of them matter anymore, Irish, Polish, Asian, Japanese, Chinese, black, white, don't matter. If you just so happen to do something by yourself, or maybe it's one of your buddies, that's on you. I can't really sit here and look at one example or even 10 examples and try to puff my chest out and say, it's everybody. It's every single one of us. Because if I do that, every single black person, including this one, is nothing more than a thug that's on Section 8 housing. Every white woman is nothing more than a crack addict who's desperate for somebody to love on them to the point where they're going to violate children. You see how...
No, the difference is that none of these things are mental conditions that society is enforcing. Like the difference is that I get what he's trying to do here. He's trying to say that, well, you can't stereotype the group based on the bad actor in the group, but the group in itself is defined by, like, you know, mental illness.
This cycle will go if you sit here and think to yourself that just
and not just gender dysphoria. We are talking about, like, and I do feel for this. Like, I just wish that we approached it in a more humane way, not like a way that we're just gonna greenlight all of this like affirming of delusion. Like, I feel for anyone who's like severely depressed, anxious, who is antisocial, etc. Like these are things that are worth being, you know, being considerate about and being concerned about. Yet the issue comes when you say that, yeah, you know, we're not going to take this person as a representative for the entire group. Like, I get that, but, you know, what is the group? That's like, I don't know. Like,
because you see the same subsection in a small percentage do something and you turn it into everybody. That's a game nobody can truly win, and it's nothing more than pointing the fingers. And when we're sitting here trying to placate the reputation of the trans community, I'll be the brave one to say it and say this piece of shit who shot at children, who killed children, is not the rest of the trans community, is not every single other person. And again, I'll repeat myself. If we want to play this silly little game, Leon, you should look at the patterns of this and this and this. Sure, I'll do it, but not just in a manner that can make you feel confident. I'm going to make it in a manner that makes you realize that, yeah, as much as you want to try to play that game, I'm going to win that game and have you and everyone else watching recognize that you should be fatigued by not just one insert group here. You should be fatigued by all of humanity. And you know, these have been...
I feel like, again, that argument isn't good, because when people repeat actions over and over again to the point where it develops a stereotype, and the stereotypes keep playing out time and time again, at a certain point, fatigue is 100% justified and warranted. You know, people talk about fatigue of all certain, you know, groups because of repeat behavior. I'm never going to be upset at someone for claiming fatigue at certain groups when they are directly at the receiving end of the behavior that's causing the fatigue. Like, imagine telling a guy who's been robbed 5 times by black people that he shouldn't have black fatigue because it's not all black people. Like, do you understand how fucking stupid you sound? Dude, he's tired of it. He's been robbed 5 times. Like, again, this is the issue where you talk about, like, you're asking the impossible for someone. You're asking for someone to literally shove down all of the experiences that have defined their biases because it's like mean, because it's counterproductive. It's like, that's not how people work.
The more tame options in terms of...
That's why I fully understand the girls who have been, like, SA'd saying they hate men. It's like, yeah, I get it, dude. Like, if you're a victim of multiple SA, like, yeah, I'd hate men too. I'm not going to blame you. Like, is it counterproductive? Like, yeah, it is. And it, you know, it's a difference between men and different racial groups because men are half the population and are also required for, you know, procreation. But I do understand it. Like, I can understand if, like, your biases form against, you know, certain genders or whatever, against any group of people.
How one is truly ready to damage their own sanctity just to pretend as if they care about insert group here. But I need you to understand that it all crescendos in this one minute bubble, and I want you to put a pin in that because we're going to come to it after I show you the third really bad way to stand up for the rights of trans people. And you could think in many different ways. How could that be? Well, after a shooting where someone kills children, you would think everyone would have the understanding of, fuck that guy. Why? Because they killed children. You can spout your political beliefs all you want, and I will tell you to chuck it, because what matters is that somebody killed children. And when I tell you that and then show you for some reason a website where people are making fucking merch, you'll tend to understand why activism is something that I must...
This looks fake. This is fake, I think. I think this is, at least when I say fake, I don't believe it's modeled, because I don't think they would have had time to make the design, put it on a t-shirt, ship it out, and get this guy to model it. This doesn't seem real. This seems like a like Redbubble drop shipping thing. Now, someone did design this. That part is true. I don't think it actually exists on a t-shirt yet. I think it's just a design. I think this is a mock-up.
Rule with an iron fist.
Yeah, this looks fake.
Because when we come and look at the markup,
like, how the fuck is it already on a discount? Like, yeah, this is fake.
Of a discounted price that's not really a discount when you think about it.
Yeah, also $2. They dropped the price from $24.99 to $22.99. Jesus.
A markup of a discounted price that's not really a discount when you think about it. And you see this bio that we're going to read, you tend to understand why some people view the transgender community as nothing more than pretentious people who are devilishly inclined. But let's read. It's hard to believe, but sometimes the simplest things can hit you the hardest. I remember one particular morning I was just scrolling through the news, like everyone does. And then I saw it, a story about this kid, just a kid who was facing the world. And it hit me, really hit me, how much courage it takes just to be yourself. It made me think about all the kids out there, the trans kids, and the battles they fight just to be seen. And honestly, it made me feel, I don't know, just helpless. But then I thought maybe there's something small that I could do, something to show my support. Robin Westman, protect trans kids.
Yeah, this is like AI, right?
Now,
I don't want to look at this. This is just more, this seems like rage bait.
They're trying to get people amped up by seeing something and having merch made in support of a guy who shot up children.
Totally,
and you know what? Let's tickle the balls on that. You are fucking deranged doing that also. And if this is real, and a motherfucker is just sitting there saying, oh, we gotta have some genuine support for a guy who shot up children. Listen, if you are someone foolish enough to think to yourself, oh, I feel unsafe here, I feel unsafe there, I don't feel protected here. This ain't the 1860s where it takes you 30 days to get a message from your neighbor that's across the street. You can find people who will accommodate every feeling you have.
We get the message. Yeah, I don't even want to watch any more of that. That is just fucked. Fuck all these people, seriously.